great truths can only be revealed to our small human minds on small stages. Now, the normal way that was done in all of the scriptures of the world, not just the Judeo-Christian scriptures, was through this concrete frame called a story. You get a little story to reveal universal truths. You start with the concrete, you struggle with the concrete, and you allow it to universalize. Do you see?
I think Laudato Si resonates deeply with the Passionist charism because just as keeping the memory of the Passion alive in our hearts is a call to ongoing conversion, so is Laudato Si. Pope Francis challenges us to embrace a more authentic and truly human way of life. And so does St. Paul of the Cross, who invites us to see the world from the foot of the cross. For me, Laudato Si enriches what it means to preach Christ crucified in today's world.
And in listening to the interview by American Magazine with Father Brian Massengale, I was saddened to understand how systematic racism even touched his vocation. I find it hard to believe that his priesthood, his call from God, presented him with a deeper obstacle, in a way, compounding the challenges he faced as a Black man in a largely white American church.
As a Catholic, I'm inspired by the words of Pope Francis, who says individual piety must send us forth into the world to address the threats of systemic racism, severe poverty, and environmental destruction. We, as people of faith, must be fearless in establishing the reign of God in our world now. I ask you to join me in prayerfully reflecting on what specific work God is calling us to do today.
Holy Cross Province decided to implement policy governance for our 4 retreat centers. This challenged us board members to move our discussions away from what we were doing and into why we exist and for whom we exist. These are called ends policies. At St. Paul of the Cross in Detroit, these discussions were a wonderful experience and they became very deep. When writing ends policies, we go back to the basics: our charism, our retreat center's values, the unmet needs in society, including our racial reckoning.
But it always takes 1, 2, 3, a few to take that initial step to do something. I knew, and it's again, it's social, political, and economic outcomes. So that's what I think. Every part in the province, we're doing something. We're doing something. Holy Family, in Birmingham, St. Mary's, they're doing everything they can to raise that conscience to raise ourselves to that level of humanity in which we see ourselves as brothers and sisters, needing each other. Otherwise, we will not be able to survive, and much less, sustain our ministries. So,
Mr. Hinton and I still live in a nation where there is a presumption of dangerousness and guilt that burdens Black and brown people. We've been in the streets this summer trying to confront this legacy of racial inequality that continues to contaminate our nation. We are not yet free. We have not dealt with this horrific narrative. My great of them, I believe that we must stand up even when people say sit down. We must speak even when people say be quiet, wherever human rights are being violated, wherever injustice can be found, wherever inequality can be seen. There have to be a community of people who fight.